Dharma Master Zheng Yan travels to Yilan to continue year-end blessing ceremony. Land-based solar panels are part of the government's plan to develop green energy.
I'm Sean Scanlon. This is DI Headlines. Let's get started. Master Zheng Yan continued her annual trip around the island, visiting Yilan's Lodong Liaison Office. Nearly 1,000 volunteers from nearby districts gathered to celebrate the upcoming New Year together. Let's take a look.
At this moment, a mother and her 3 daughters become certified as Tzu Chi volunteers.
It means we can do Tzu Chi activities together, and that brings us closer together.
怎么爸爸过世之后换我的部分，我就很担心啊，所以能做什么就多做一点。
Having her mother and sister also joining the ranks of Tzu Chi volunteers has been a wish of Li Limin. She became a certified volunteer 10 years ago after experiencing her father's impermanence and her own diagnosis with esophageal cancer. Now, as she's 37, the 3 of them are finally able to learn the Dharma together and nourish their wisdom.
Talking about this will make me cry. Having esophageal cancer has greatly impacted me, and it's because of the show grassroots body that they knew I had it. I hadn't talked about this part of my life before.
To welcome the new year, more than 20 people were certified as Tzu Chi volunteers in Yilan district. Dharma family members support each other as their predecessors vouched for them. Always in the kitchen, Yo Ashu has been promoting vegetarianism for the past 25 years, with her husband supporting her. However, she lost both her husband and youngest son to cancer within the past 5 years. And it was Tzu Chi which helped her through the difficult time.
I always say that I'm thankful everyone is not tired of me and treats me like their own mother. I am thankful everyone needs to come participate. In participation, you will learn life lessons.
敢若讲自这善甲爱啦，已经50多年，人甲人的中间呐，互相照啊，互相鼓励啊。 大家人健康啊，拢是伫咧做创造别人的道。恳求善人处事，须将大话传大话。福慧双修啊，哈，人人行菩萨道，新年快乐，事事如意。顶礼上人。
61-year-old care recipient Mr. Lin used to sell vegetables to make a living, but since his brother got cancer, he turned his attention to caring for him. Later, sickness befell him, and after his brother passed away, he continued to live a simple but unsafe dwelling, which Tzu Chi volunteers helped repair. Here's more.
Mr. Lin is all smiles as he looks at his new home, but his house didn't look like this half a year before. After his parents and brother passed, Mr. Lin continued living in the house, but it soon leaked and was on the verge of collapsing.
2 or 3 of the supporting beams were eaten away by termites, and the horizontal beams have cracked, so he decided to remove those.
Over 60 volunteers spent 2 days cleaning up before starting repair work to fix the roof and reinforce the supporting beams of the house. The walls were also repainted to look like new.
In the past, this older brother lived in a messy environment, and his health might have been affected by it.
A warm breeze comes through the traditional courtyard and also into his heart. Mr. Lin had a change of mindset.
Now he has more meat to his bones and he's looking much better. When we were cleaning up before, he had a heart of gratitude.
My health has improved, so if there's work for me, I will go work, and on Sunday, I will go be a volunteer.
Counting his blessings and knowing how to reciprocate, Mr. Lin accepts the bamboo coin bank. to pay back his gratitude for the love he has received.
In Zhanghua, a single parent, Ms. Feng, has a pair of children and suffers from lupus. She also needs to undergo kidney dialysis herself, making her unable to clean her home. Volunteers assisted in the cleanup, hoping a clean environment can help this family.
The lamp in the kitchen has long been broken, so the volunteers first fix it upon arrival.
The lamp was damaged for a long time. Now it is replaced.
The environment is dull and stinking, and the hand washing sink on the side is not working. Nearly 40 volunteers work together to clean and tidy the house, from the living room to the kitchen. Single parent Ms. Feng has 2 children, yet she's sick and unable to work.
We came here today to help clean their living environment so that it is hygienic to stay and they will not contract diseases.
Especially for the 2 children, the elder brother is 16 years old and the younger sister is only in grade 8. They need more company.
They're quite good looking and well behaved. We hope to keep them more company.
I want to take good care of my mother and always help tidy up my home.
Volunteers told me not to feel embarrassed. When I or my kids are able to help others in the future, we can pay back.
It took more than 2 hours of cleaning to make the messy environment clean and bright. Yet volunteers' care will always be there to accompany this family.
In Seremban, Malaysia, a flood occurred in early November. Tzu Chi volunteers followed up with the care for flood survivors, including Lim Si Tat, who suffers from mental illness and lived alone. He had not eaten for several days, with volunteers mobilizing to clean his home.
And he also identified me, Lao said Yen. And that moment came crashing down. We have to hug each other and we cried like a baby.
Because of flood, Lao Sik-en found a classmate Lin Si-da who had lost contact for 35 years. He hadn't eaten for several days, and his home environment was messy, so Lao Sik-en hurried sought help from Tzu Chi.
And immediately Tzu Chi came and helped assess, and then they agreed to help this man. We are very grateful and thankful to all the volunteers, everyone.
He lives alone and doesn't know how to take care of himself. He has to wait for someone to help him. He can't cook and has no gas either.
Tzu Chi mobilized 22 volunteers to clean up Lin Si-da's home, and even his psychiatrist come to help.
If someone can take care of him, he can actually live like ordinary people.
Thank you for helping me clean up.
His hair is very long. We cut it for him. In fact, he's very handsome after trimming hair.
Lin Si-da, with his short haircut, has a fresh spirit, as if life could say goodbye to worries and move forward gratefully.
Dalian Tzu Chi Hospital's medical team visited the elderly and infirm, including a wife who had 4 minor strokes which caused dementia and loss of speech. Her husband was also diagnosed with 3rd-stage lung cancer. Let's take a look.
"75 75-year-old Chen Jiang Lihua had 4 transient ischemic attacks while suffering from Alzheimer's disease, unstable emotions along with a decaying body function. She has to use a whiteboard in order to communicate with her family.
We are a couple. Of course, I will care for her while she is suffering from illnesses.
The kind husband cares about his wife too much while he's at the 3rd stage of lung cancer.
It's tough taking care of patients. It's also highly pressuring, so I call on volunteers to visit and care for these Dharma friends regularly.
I'm glad that my mother has been in Tzu Chi for a long time. Everyone knows her. She's part of Tzu Chi even before the Jingsi Hall was built. So I think this is her blessing.
The team arrives to check on senior Dharma friends, including a former postman Chen Wangfa, as he brought recyclables to the post office in the past. Unfortunately, he got into a car accident this year in August.
I'm really grateful because he's also busy and has to care for us at the same time.
This journey is meant to bring care to Dharma friends and to ensure volunteers have followed the doctor's instructions. When everyone has a healthy body, they may continue the Tzu Chi path.
In order to achieve the goal of becoming a non-nuclear homeland by 2025, the government is promoting renewable energy, including solar power, offshore wind power, and biogas. Solar power continues to be at the forefront, but the necessity for ground-based solar panels can impact the local ecology, including disputes with agriculture and fisheries.
苗栗有80%的地形都是浅山，而且 80% of Miaoli's terrain is shallow mountains, and this area is the habitat of leopard cats, which are protected species. Unfortunately, solar panels have been erected on such hillsides, which are the habitat of leopard cats. 鲸吞蚕食我们石虎的栖息地。
In order to achieve the goal of a non-nuclear homeland by 2025, the government has set a 5-year renewable energy promotion plan of 30 gigawatt, of which solar power accounts for the largest proportion, which is as high as 20 gigawatt. Green energy is rapidly entering the countryside, whether it's farmland, fish farms, salt flats, or mountain slopes. Not only has the topography changed, but public opinion has also turned, caused by the improper location of solar panels, which have quickly spread throughout Taiwan.
In Miaoli County, there's nearly 200 hectares of land that encounter this problem. It is a big impact on the agriculture, and wild animals also face habitat destruction and fragmentation.
Disputes over the impact of ground-based solar panel fields on the local ecology and landscape have caused great pressure on local governments in their solar energy industry. But in the eyes of foreign investors, Taiwan's photovoltaic conditions are far superior than Japan and Germany, and it is a market that cannot be ignored.
From the south of Changhua to Pingdong, there's an average of at least 3.5 hours to 4.5 hours of power generation per day. Compared to other countries and regions, this is quite an abundant amount of power generation hours.
How is the location of solar panel fields selected? In fact, there are two pipelines. One is the local government. According to the central government guidelines, if it avoids national wetlands in 62 geologically sensitive areas, receives approval by the central government, then a public tender can be held. The other pipeline is the solar power industry, which finds land on its own and applies to the central government for permission. In the case of the National Property Administration, a comprehensive inventory of state-owned land was launched 3 years ago. At present, there are 82 applications for approval in the first phase of review. As long as the second phase is passed, there will be about 900 hectares of state-owned land that are released for solar power industry, of which 199 hectares will be in Tainan, which is the largest, followed by Hualien, Changhua, and Pingdong.
Our state-owned land is a two-stage approval process. In the first stage, we only agree with their intention of going to apply to the Ministry of Economic Affairs. If the Ministry of Economic Affairs agrees, we'll have a second stage approval process, which is the provision of our state-owned land, either leasing it or selling it.
In 2009, the government revised the Renewable Energy Development Act to formally introduce the government's Green Power Guarantee Purchase System. This stipulates that the large power users must install renewable energy or purchase green power. The direction of the policy is not only a great benefit to the solar power industry, but local governments can also obtain benefits from such development cases, which makes ground-based solar energy a huge business opportunity.
You need the land to develop a power generation plant, which can feed through transmission lines to the Thai power grid. So the selection of the site becomes very important, and it is rather a complicated problem.
A controversy surfaced in 2020 that involved Miaoli, as there are currently 100 applications that may involve leopard cat habitats, and in Taidong, one involves the Zhiben wetlands, and indigenous traditional fields and ecological issues have led the Council of Agriculture to slam on the brakes of approval in July this year. It suddenly announced it would take a comprehensive inventory of sites with poor forest conditions and those that are unfavorable for farming. NGOs also repeatedly appealed to the government, hoping to establish a dedicated solar power site selection program that allowed community groups and environmental groups to review.
Our environmental and social inspections are divided into two parts. The first part is the confirmation of environmental issues. That is to say, if this land is developed for solar power in the future, what problems will it encounter? Is it a wetland problem? Is it a problem of migratory birds? Is it a problem of protected animal species? For example, leopard cat in Taiwan. It has many different situations. We hope that experts will attend meetings to clarify what are the problems in this area.
Environmental and social inspections have been completed in October, and the Bureau of Energy under the Ministry of Economic Affairs has selected 6 pilot areas based on 11 sets of maps provided by the Council of Agriculture. They're concentrated in Zhanghua, Yunlin, Jiayi, and Tainan, with good sunshine available. Kaohsiung and Pingdong have been identified as safe hotspots suitable for the development of solar power. Among them, more than 260,000 hectares of land in Jiayi and Tainan have entered the demonstration stage, subject to review by environmental groups and NGOs. In the future, solar power companies will be stationed there for future development.
We are promoting any method of green energy development. However, we cannot go backwards and destroy our living space and the environment. That is the most fundamental thing for us in our original intention.
While still nearly 5 years away from the goal of a non-nuclear homeland, the central government is currently speeding up its pace for dispute settlement and the position of solar power. It hopes to gain consensus from all walks of life and put solar power on the right track as soon as possible.
Nearly 80, yet Taifeng still walks whenever going outside. Her eyes are good as she is able to spot cans and bottles on the street. This act of recycling attracted her neighbors to join the ranks of recycling. Yet Taifeng's daughter asked her mother to rest since she is old, but she told her she will continue doing recycling.
我们台湾的老菩萨90几岁了，推着车子在减环保。我现在也不用推车，我走路都走得很好，我怎么不做呢？
78-year-old Ye Caifeng lives in an apartment without an elevator. She walks upstairs and downstairs repetitively in order to collect recyclables from neighbors.
I don't have the habit of recycling before, but when I saw her collecting recyclables, I was moved.
Some bring cardboard boxes over, and I told him the amount of money he makes from these giving boxes are his merits. Although it's not too much, a box or two, but the amount of growth over time.
Ye Caifeng's dedication to recycling was witnessed by her neighbors as they were moved. The trend of recycling slowly became a normal activity in the community.
If you do right thing and someone is watching, he will follow you. In the past, I didn't know it was bad to throw recyclables randomly. Now I take it with me and put it in the right place.
Besides doing recycling, Ye Caifeng cherishes water resources. Living alone, she is used to a simple life, and along with a passionate character, she became close with the community.
Whoa, this is a lot of dumpling. Thank you so much. She really cares about me and brings me food. There are also side dishes. It's great.
Although approaching her 80s, Ye Caifeng said that she never wants to stop volunteering and will continue the path to her best extent.
My daughter told me stop doing recycling, but I told her it's fine. I can do it because I can. I'm happy doing recycling, and this is more important than anything else.
In the past, women were not thought to control their own destiny. Xu Meifeng's marriage was once troubled, filled with domestic abuse. Eventually, she was able to get away, though she was later diagnosed with 3 types of cancer. Tzu Chi volunteers have been taking care of her, providing financial support as well as emotional support. Let's take a look at her story.
Domestic abuse is like a game of cat and mouse, where I run and he chases. I'll hide and he'll find me. Once he hit me in the head and I ran downstairs, and he caught up with me and continued until I fell. I thought I'll just lay there and let him kick me.
I was a bad person. I sold drugs and hurt people, all kinds of bad things. I've been in jail since I was young, and finally when I got out in my 40s, I met her. I had been in jail for over 20 years, and she was the one that made me want to be a good person. I wanted to give her security and a family, but I don't know. It didn't happen that way. I blame myself for her condition. Thankfully, Tzu Chi is helping with financial support, and the volunteers have been helping with spiritual support and comforting her, so we can get by. Otherwise, it's difficult. I will have returned to my old ways in selling drugs to support her medical condition.
I like being with these brothers and sisters. I feel joyful when I'm with them.
Our group does volunteer work on Tuesdays, and about 6 a.m. that morning, I'll drive over to pick her up.
The Master is in our hearts, and she's encouraging us, giving us strength.
We try to find things for her to do so she's not so focused on her sickness. She's very willing to do them as well, but towards the end, the fluid accumulated in her stomach was too much and she had trouble moving, so she didn't go to the recycling station anymore.
I want to be a Tzu Chi volunteer. If I am able to, I will do my best to do it and make it meaningful. I don't want to live like before.
As the coronavirus epidemic continues, people continue to be worried about their health. Sri Lankan Tzu Chi volunteers distributed daily necessities to poor families. They also carefully made anti-epidemic tea bags to boost immunity and fight the virus. We leave you with these images. Goodbye.